Yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. In today's video, we are going to be talking about authentic spirituality because I gotta be honest with y'all, bro. A lot of people get into this spiritual journey and I don't think they really know what it's about. Spirituality will change your life, if you practice it authentically. However, this is not gonna be all happy go lucky like niggas make it seem all the time. Now, granted, it definitely can be like that. You can definitely have the experience of being super duper blissed out all the time and all that shit. But those are usually like the end results of practicing spirituality, especially if you're a person who is riddled with trauma and limiting beliefs and past experiences which didn't make you feel the best, and perceptions of life which are greatly distorted and may have been pushed onto you since you were a fucking child and all these things. Spirituality is not always an easy journey of, fucking love and happiness and all this shit. You feel me? It really isn't. Granted though, you will experience the love and happiness if you're doing it authentically, right? So let me first explain what a spiritual journey truly even means. What does it mean to be spiritual? Spirit, it means to be of the spirit. So you're either becoming more aligned with your spirit and or the spirit, right? Whether you want to call it God, source, spirit, the most high, whatever name you want to label this thing which transcends everything. It's not even a fucking thing. It's just that which transcends all things, right? You can't even fucking explain it, right? The spirit, when you become spiritual, you're trying to become of that thing. So the spiritual journey is the journey of becoming of the spirit. You feel me? It's the journey of aligning yourself to your spirit and the great spirit. Now, what's your spirit? Your spirit is the true you. And I mean the word you in every sense of the word, because you denotes an individual, right? See, on earth, we experience ourselves as individuals. I'm Jeannie, you're Sarah, that's Bethany, that's Tom. You know what I'm saying? We all have these separate individual characters, right? And individuality is an illusion because we truly are all one. I'm not about to explain that right now. That's a spiritual truth that you will understand if you truly go along this journey. Anyway, we are all one. We are all energy and consciousness, and we all come from that which transcends all things. In fact, we are all made of that which transcends all things. It's just appearing in a myriad of forms right now. You feel me? For example, there are several different puzzle pieces, and every single piece is an individual puzzle piece, but it still makes up one puzzle. You feel me? So with that being said, same with droplets in the ocean, or a grain or a grain of sand inside of a giant fucking beach of sand. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes, it's individual shit, but it's all part of one greater thing. I'm saying this because we have our individual selves on earth, but we do also have a true spiritual individual self, which is our spirit. Now, we also have a soul, and let me explain what all these things are for those of you who may not know. Your soul is an individualized focal point of awareness that is able to become conscious and aware of itself. It's the observer that observes life, it is your consciousness. Your spirit is an infinite, eternal, energetic awareness. You feel me? Which is able to split itself off into smaller individualized focal points of awarenesses, aka souls. So your soul is a tiny part of your spirit. Right now, your soul is focused in space and time, observing your life on earth. But your spirit is actually an infinite, eternal, energetic awareness that exists beyond space and time. It exists past, present, and future. You know what I'm saying? So right now, your soul is the part of your spirit which is focused inside space and time for this lifetime. But you still have your spirit that exists outside. That you still have your spirit that exists outside space and time. In order to get into with your spirit, you must first get in tune with your soul. You must first become the observer and then learn to observe your you Once you become the observer, you must learn to observe the version of yourself which exists beyond space and time, aka your spirit, right? And your spirit is still an individual. It's just this immortal individual energy that's fucking eternal and shit like that, you know? And I'm saying that because being individual isn't bad. Being individual is only bad when you believe that you truly are an individual that's separate from all things. But we should realize that we do have individuality, right? Like, yes, we have a separate character, and being attached to your character can lead to, some fucked up experiences on Earth. You know what I'm saying? It really can. When you get attached to your ego, you can really fuck up your life. You know what I'm saying? In minor ways or in the most major ways possible, right? It really can fuck you up. You feel me? But the individuality itself is not what's bad. It's the attachment to the character that formed out of a sense of individuality. You see, your spirit is aware that it's an individual, but that it's also part of a greater whole, And your spirit is technically of the spirit. Your spirit is aligned with the greater spirit, God, source, most high, that which transcends all things, all that ever is and all that ever will be and all that ever has been. Whatever you want to call it, right? Your spirit's always aligned with that. So I'm saying all of these things, right, to give us a basic framework of what our spirit is, what God or source is, and the fact that the spiritual journey is all about aligning with these things. Now, aligning with these things will not always be easy, okay? It will not be. When you do align with them, you're going to feel all the joy, the bliss, the happiness. Yes, you will. I've experienced it. It's been amazing, but I've also experienced extreme low points. A lot of people think that spirituality deals with adding on more information, but it's actually more of a path of dissolution. And I forgot who I heard say this. It might have been Sadhguru. I'm not fully sure though, but I remember I heard this before and I thought that was so facts. And even though I heard it back then, I didn't really even fully internalize it, but I recognized that more and more and more as I went along this journey because I love learning new things. If you've been watching me for a while, if you're like a regular subscriber, you guys know that I drop a lot of information. I do reaction videos also. I started doing that maybe about like a few months ago and stuff like that. And even with reaction videos, I'm usually breaking down what the other person is saying and telling you if I agree with it or not and why I do agree with it or why I don't agree with it and if it's fully true or if it's not true, right? I do love gaining information. Don't get it fucked up. But it's actually hilarious because the process of gaining this information came from me losing other information, right? Here's what I mean. A lot of people on earth are attached to their character and their sense of self. They're attached to their sense of individuality. It's kind of funny because even though your spirit is essentially an individual, that knows very well that it's an individual, it's never attached to its sense of individuality. Meanwhile, on Earth, we're completely unaware of our spirit and our true sense of individuality. Wow, what the fuck? My fault. That just tongue twisted the fuck out of me. We are on Earth unaware of our spirit a lot of times, unaware of our true sense of individuality, unaware of our true sense of individuality, yet we somehow still get attached to a false sense of individuality. It's kind of weird when you think about it. But I'm saying that because in order to get back into it, your spirit, you must first dissolve the attachment and all the beliefs about who/what you are. And really doing that, people mention how ego death seems like it's such a beautiful thing, but it's not always, because if you have been very attached to certain concepts of the world and of yourself and how reality works and all these things, but it's going to be hard to drop that shit. I hope you know that. It really is going to be. Even now, bro, I'm sure that there's certain shit inside me that I still have to drop, which is going to be hard to drop. And in fact, actually, no, I'm going to be real about some shit. No, because now I'm saying that because I mean something beyond, okay. Let me just slow down real quick. Right now, in my journey, right, I'm at a point where I have been able to access my past lives quite easily. I talk about them on YouTube. I made a really big video about the Red Lion, right? It's almost an hour video, you feel me? Anyway, because I'm able to gain access to my past lives, I can easily connect with those lives and kind of re-embody the lifetimes and the lessons. In fact, as I have observed my past lives, I realized that I don't even have to usually consciously try to embody certain shit because it's already playing itself out anyway. And the only reason I'm becoming aware of a certain past life is because it's somehow influencing my life right now. One of the past lives I'm tapping into is when I was a fire dragon. Now, this shit may sound crazy as fuck. Who gives a fuck? One part of being spiritual is that you may look a little bit fucking crazy. And also, it may sound cool as shit. It's not always that fucking cool. It really isn't. You feel me? Because the fire dragon, yeah, that shit's dope. It's cool. Oh, dragon. Oh, fire shit. Yeah, what about the bad tendencies about it? Like how it could be fucking destructive and overly aggressive and yada, 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 yada. What about that shit? Yeah, working with that shit's not always that fucking fun. Especially when you're fucking attached to that form of yourself so much that letting go of it can be excruciatingly hard due to the fact that you have identified with it so much. Now, luckily, I'm aware of the fact that, we can't be attached to our character because all of our past lives are still characters. It's like playing a video game. Inside that round of the video game, I chose to be the dragon. In a different round, I chose to be the red lion. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like a fucking video game. And even though when you say it like that, it sounds all funny shit, truly living it, like while actually going through it, is not always the most fun thing. Now, when it comes to my life in the fire dragon, one big thing that the fire dragon knows a lot about, especially the cosmic fire dragon, is like karmic cycles and the cycles of creation and destruction, and how we constantly play out karmic cycles that include different phases of creation and destruction, and creating certain things and destroying different things. You feel me? And as I have tapped into that, I have also recognized certain cycles inside of my life, creative and destructive cycles, which are not always the best. And I have now been letting go of those things. It's crazy because it's actually super duper subtle. And I didn't even always recognize that it was a problem. But now I'm seeing the different issues that it has caused inside my life and how it could cause issues in the future. It's crazy because even though I'm peeping that shit, like my life has been relatively good. I'm actually in the best state I've ever been in. Like my environment is amazing. You know what I'm saying? My mental health is amazing. My relationship is fucking amazing. With whether it was with my girlfriend or my friends or my family, it's all my relationships are fucking amazing. Everything's fucking amazing right now. You feel me? But I'm still recognizing certain issues that I have that other niggas may not even clock me on because they're not constantly dealing with me, or and they're not inside my vessel, and they're not understanding what's going on inside me and whatever the fuck. You feel me? So I'm saying this because yeah, I'm learning new shit from the fire dragon, but it's only coming from dissolving certain parts of myself. And as I dissolve certain parts of myself more, I kind of gain more wisdom. Because it's like, as you dissolve all that was never real, you start to see all that was really true. And all that was really true was just veiled beyond your eyes. So because you're re-aware of it, it's like you're putting out new information, but the whole entire time you always had this information. It was just blocked by a whole bunch of illusions, which is why you need to go through the path of disillusion and dissolution. Because during the path of dissolution, you'll be disillusioned. You'll be dissolving things, right? As you go through the path of dissolving things, you will see beyond delusions. That's what I'm saying. During the path of dissolution, you will be disillusioned. You will see the illusions that you have been buying into for so long. And it's so crazy because even when you think that you solved this illusion, I promise you, bro, there's probably more fucking illusions, bro. Literally, all of life is illusory. All of it. Even when you go to the 12th, even because the way that I've been taught about reality, right, is that there are 12 planes of existence, right? The 12th plane is the Shalvic plane, aka the transcendental plane, because that is where you actually transcend this whole entire omniverse, right? Now, when you transcend the omniverse, right, you pretty much go back to becoming source that which transcends all things. I'm saying that because even in the 12th plane of existence, the plane of existence which seems like it should be the most realist part of reality, even that's an illusion because you're still separate from source, and really you're never separate from source, because it's like, for example, that's like a cell inside of your body thinking that it's not a part of your body. Like, yes, the fuck it is. But every time that you experience it as separate, you're kind of experiencing the illusory experience of that separateness when really it's all one. You see? So whenever you're inside of reality, whenever you're inside this omniverse, whenever you're inside of these 12 planes of existence, you will always be experiencing some kind of illusion. And the spiritual journey of becoming one with source again involves, letting go of those illusions of separateness and re-becoming one. Now the thing is, right, with your spiritual journey, right, you may have periods of time when you unify the source, and then you may forget all about that shit. You feel me? Like, this shit is constant. You feel me? Until you hit the point where you're like these fucking Taoist immortal masters who be fucking dematerializing and rematerializing, and who be fucking able to teleport, and they could walk through fire and fucking levitate. Until you become like that, my nigga, you ain't fully mastered your spirit yet. I'm nowhere near mastering my fucking spirit, bro. You feel me? This shit is a constant journey, and the beginnings of the journey will be nitty and gritty as fuck. It will be. You feel me? It will not always be happy. Even in fact, you don't even have times of extreme bliss. And I mean not even off no drugs or psychedelics. I mean, like, for me, like, example with me. It's been times where, even so, for those guys who don't know me, right? I mention my ex-girlfriend a lot because that was a very transformative experience in my life. For those of you who watch me, you're probably getting annoyed by now, like, oh my god, here comes his ex again. I'm in a happy relationship now. It's very amazing. But I always hold these lessons so sacred. In fact, I'm only in such a healthy relationship right now because I learned what an unhealthy one was like, and I learned how to avoid that shit. But I'm bringing this up because even while being with her and everything that was bad about that shit, I had times of just meditating and being super blissed out and feeling like I fucking understood everything and feeling like I've touched the peak of everything. And I mean, I've been fully sober, no drugs in my system, no psychedelics, no weed, nothing like that. Nigga, I'm just meditating off the strain, and I might even be thinking, like, sometimes I'd be thinking about her and feel bliss, or I'll just be tapping into my spirit and feel bliss. You feel me? I felt bliss in both ways. Of course, both forms of bliss kind of feel different because one's dependent on an external person and the other one's dependent on yourself. But with both of these, I felt like I fucking reached the peak and that I understood everything, just to still be in the same situation that was causing me so many issues in my life and just difficulty that didn't have to be there. So I'm saying this because even inside your super blissed out states, you may still encounter issues and troubles. You feel me? In fact, there's a African proverb that I don't remember how, I forgot which culture it came from. It might have been Igbo, but I'm not fully sure. It might have been somewhere in Nigeria. I think it's Nigeria, somewhere in Nigeria for a fact. I don't know if it's Igbo specifically, but somewhere in Nigeria for a fact. One of the Nigerian people, I'm pretty sure. But I should say Africa, right? So I know it's African for a fact. And I forget the exact words, but it mentions how, like, there's always going to be like a down period after you just had so much fun. I forgot what the exact words were, and I'm really upset that I can't recall it, but I always hold it inside my heart to remember that whenever you have periods of extreme bliss, there may be periods of extreme depression. You feel me? Who the fuck? And I actually not ever been like depressed. I don't think I've ever been depressed. Have I been inside of like a depressed state? Yes, I've done it on purpose. I have made myself tap into my sadness because emotions are not something that you need to avoid. Whenever you feel sad, it's usually a call to, you know how, like, when you feel sad and depressed, you don't feel like doing nothing, you just want to just sit down all day. Yeah, that's on purpose. You're meant to sit down and process what's going on inside you. And then when you do that, it usually is fucking amazing. That's why low-key depression can sometimes be addicting, because it can sometimes feel good to be sad, my nigga, because you're just flowing with shit, my nigga. It can low-key feel good sometimes. You feel me? Now, anyway, even the Taoists, like the Taoists, talk about this shit big time. They always mention trying to stay in harmony, because they see it as if you have extreme bliss, you're always gonna have that downfall. And that's why with me, I try to always like stay in the middle. Or if I do get excited, I'm aware of the fact that there will be a crash, and I am accepting of that. And I'm saying all these things because the spiritual journey gets seen as this beautiful thing where it's just crystals and incense all day. And granted, nigga, I'm wearing a crystal necklace right now. I'm about to light some incense. Nigga, I love all that shit. You feel me? But it's not only about that. It's about truly facing everything which is blocking you from being in tune with your spirit. And some of that shit may not even always be what's usually bad for. Like, for example, niggas, like, let's do some simple shit. Niggas know that eating bad food isn't good for you, right? Obviously, eating bad food isn't good for you, right? That's like duh, you feel me? And anybody, no matter what the fuck you believe in, knows that being healthy is good for you, right? But when it comes to certain friendships, for example, right? When you become spiritual, I'm not saying that you say like fuck my friends, but you may hang out with them way less. Like with me, right? I have certain friends that these are my boys. If I call them right now, they'll pick up if they're not busy, and we'll have a convo like we've been talking every single day. But I'm not gonna act like I hang out with these people every single day. I don't. You feel me? Now, I have friends that are spiritual, which I don't hang out with every single day. I also have friends which aren't spiritual, which I don't hang out with every single day. Both people is usually for different reasons. The ones who aren't spiritual, I usually can't be around them for too long, because the things that we do or the couples that arise will usually just be some shit that's taking me away from my spirit. You feel me? Nothing against them. It's just that I'm trying to stay in tune with my spirit. You feel me? And with that being said, normally hanging out with those friends wouldn't seem like a bad thing. Like if you're not a spiritual person, it wouldn't seem like it's bad to hang out with those friends. In fact, it might actually be a good thing that's keeping you happy inside your life, and is, you know what I'm saying, keeping you social, and is preventing you from depression, and is keeping you like, it could be really beneficial to you to keep those friends. You feel me? But now that you're spiritual, it's like, yo, you're still my man's, but I'm not gonna hang out with you every day like I used to. You feel what I'm trying to say? Like certain shit may shift, right? And I'm saying this because these kinds of shifts are the hardest, where something normally isn't bad, but it's only bad because you're spiritual now. You feel me? Like eating unhealthy food is always bad. You feel me? It just always is. But certain shit isn't always bad until you become spiritual. You feel me, bro? And that's just facts. That's really just facts, bro. Those shits become so hard to let go of, because it's like a part of you is like, yo, like, you know that this shit isn't inherently bad, and you know that if you weren't spiritual, that you could easily do this thing. And then you start having that battle with yourself, like, yo, like for example, my ex, bro. I honestly think that if I wasn't spiritual, bro, and if I didn't have like certain beliefs, me and my ex would have easily worked out. Because when we first started off, it was when I first met my ex, I was actually kind of slacking in my journey. I was still meditating every single day, but I was meditating way less, and I kind of was feeling like, what's the point of all this shit? I was like, yo, I feel like I've connected, and I've understood the spiritual journey, and there's no point to this shit no more. Like I kind of just want to fuck off a little bit. You feel me? And I was still meditating shit, but I wasn't fully tapping in how I could have, you know. This is what I mean. Also, there's always more steps to go, bro. You're not done. Like I said, until you can fucking levitate, do all that crazy shit, you're not done with shit. You feel me? I'm not saying that you have to levitate. You feel me? But I'm saying that there are so many spiritual feats to attain that you're never done with this journey of becoming fully in tune with your spirit. Because if you were fully in tune with your spirit, you would be immortal, literally, because you would be able to always draw on the energy of your spirit and never die. Like real talk, like real shit. You feel me? Whether it's physically immortal or spiritually immortal, you know what I'm saying? But I mean physically, nigga. Like, yeah. like them niggas in India and fucking China and shit. Them Hindu immortal masters and them Taoist immortal masters. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, when I first got with my ex, it was low key lit. Like there was like one minor conflict in the beginning, but after that it was like pretty fucking lit. And then we only started declining as I wanted to get more in tune with my spirit again and learn more things. And of course, in order to learn new things, I had to get rid of certain things. And because I was getting rid of certain parts of myself, I was getting literally the parts of myself I had to get rid of were the parts of myself that connected with her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being with her would have been fine if I literally wasn't spiritual. Literally. But because I'm spiritual, I couldn't be with her no more. And that was one of the hardest things because I knew that this isn't inherently wrong and it only is because I'm spiritual, essentially. You feel me? Now, of course, there was like other toxic shit that would happen, but I could have easily dealt with that shit and got over that shit if I wasn't spiritual, which is why it was so great in the beginning. Because I wasn't, like, even though I was still trying to get into my spirit on some level, I wasn't really on it like that. You feel me? Now with my girl, we both spiritual. We do spiritual shit together and stuff like that. Like my ex wasn't really spiritual. You feel me? She had like I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to talk about that no more. You just understand that now shit is lit. You feel me? Now shit is lit. But I've had several things in my life where normally it would have been good. You feel me? It would have been it was a big benefit. It was actually helping me progress until I became spiritual. This shit is not always nice. This shit is not always sunshine. This shit is not always rainbows. This shit is not always cute. This shit is not always fun. It isn't. You feel me? But the more until you get with your spirit, things do get brighter. So I'm making this video for a couple of people. Number one, I'm making it for people who are just getting into spirituality and think that this is going to be the thing that makes them happy forever. It can make you happy forever, but only if you truly go through it authentically. Because at first, nigga, you might get more depressed. Nigga, imagine you become spiritual, and now you went from fucking chilling with friends and having fun and watching all these shows that was lit as fuck to now you're just isolated and bored as fuck. I'm not saying that when you're spiritual you can't. I'm not saying that when you're spiritual that you can't hang out with people or that you can't watch TV. But I'm saying that with certain phases of your journey, you may realize that these people are taking you away from your spirit. You may realize that the TV taking you away from your spirit. At one point, I wasn't watching. I went like probably like a year to 2 years without watching any TV, bro. I might have watched like an educational YouTube video, but I wasn't watching no Netflix, no Hulu, no shit. But now I can watch all that shit. You feel me? And I do it from a spiritual perspective, and like it's weird. It's like watching shows can help me get into my spirit. You feel me? Real talk. Depending on what I'm watching and why I'm watching and how I'm watching it. You feel me? But my point is, you may have loved doing certain things, but when you become spiritual, right, doing them isn't helping you no more. And maybe later in your journey, you could return to those things because now you do it in a different way. But at first, it may not be lit, bro. Your journey may not be lit as first, bro. Especially, like I said, bro, if you already have a lot of trauma and blocks and shit like that, bro, spirituality is not going to be a snap and then you're over that shit. No, spirituality is going to say you're forced to fully, now you can't avoid this shit. Now you really got to face me, nigga. So I'm making it for the people who just getting into this shit and also for the people who kind of had that thought and have already got into their journey and have experienced some of the shit I'm talking about and kind of feel like, damn, bro, this spiritual shit, bro, I thought it was going to be this, but I'm not fucking with it no more. Like some niggas may feel like they should abandon the journey, and some niggas may feel like they're just doing the journey wrong because they're not getting the benefits that they thought they were going to get. You feel me? And I'm here to tell you that, number one, there's no need to leave the path. I promise you, your life really will get better if you go through it authentically. But the thing is, this shit, low key, spirituality can kind of ruin your life if you're constantly in the middle of, do I be in tune with my ego or my spirit? And here's why I say that. If you're someone who's fully in tune with your ego, you'll have no problem doing egotistical shit that may quote unquote benefit you. Like you don't care about doing the wrong thing to get money, for example. You feel me? You don't care about that, right? You don't care about hurting people or nothing like you could easily progress yourself in that kind of way. You feel me? Because you don't give a fuck about shit. But right, when you're spiritual, right, you can still have an amazing life because, since you do care about these things, you find the higher way to do things which have a true sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. But if you're constantly in the middle, you're going to be fighting yourself because you know that you could just not give a fuck and do things the ego way, but your spirit's not going to let you. But because you still kind of fucking with your ego will not let you do things that are of the spirit, because the things that are of the spirit involve letting go of the ego. So this shit really could fuck up your life. You could have had all the money in the world, the best relationships and stuff. Like, you could have had literally everything before you became spiritual. But you might lose all that shit and not gain anything if you stay stuck in the middle. Because you'll know that you can't do ego shit no more, but your ego won't let you do spirit shit either. And now, because you can't do spirit shit, you can't have a lifestyle that you can't have a good lifestyle that came from doing spirit shit. You feel me? You can't. Because your ego holding you back. And your spirit holding you back from your ego. So you better pick a fucking side, nigga. Real talk. Better pick a fucking side, nigga. You feel me? Like real shit. This is real shit. This is some real authentic shit, my nigga. You feel me? So that's why I said some niggas feel like I should abandon the journey. If you feel like that, nigga, you might as well either abandon this shit or go full force spirit. Because sticking in the middle not helping your ass, my nigga. Now, as a person who went full force spirit, it does get better. I have made better connections. Before being spiritual, I didn't really have money like that anyway. But now I got money and shit, you feel me? So that's pretty dope, you feel me? My physical health is better. I'm stronger, you feel me? I'm way smarter. The spiritual journey definitely can become sunshine and rainbows. I've had beautiful experiences by just meditating or by taking psychedelics. I've had beautiful experiences in every ways, with my girl, with drugs, with my own spirit, with breath, you feel me, with family and shit. My life really has improved because of spirituality, but there was a point where I thought it was declining. There was a point where shit was getting fucked up. There was a point where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There was a point where I'm like, this shit demon. There's a point where I didn't know what the fuck was happening. There's a point where I'm like, the demons getting to me. They lied. I should have been a Christian. You feel me? Nigga, this shit threw me for fucking loops until I understood what was really going on. I did the work. I got more in tune, and now shit is beautiful. If you need help on your journey, I have coaching and readings down below. I love you all. I'm going to catch you in my next video. Peace the freak out. You hear me?